Hello, hello, hello. Hello and welcome to Adventures of Deanna. I'm Deanna and I'm on an adventure to lose over 100 pounds. Today's video is the ABCs of weight loss and we're talking about the letter T. I'm so glad that everybody is here today. I'm so happy. While we are getting started, we'd just like to start with your guesses. Guess what words or word you think that we may or may not be talking about today that start with the letter T. Ooh, it's been a hot minute since I did one of these, so I'm a little bit nervous today, and I hope everybody can hear me okay. So please type in the chat that everything is working well and that you can hear me okay and that things are going good, because like I said, I am a little bit nervous today. Tone, trust, yes. So good. Teamwork. Ooh, teamwork. Hello. I'm guessing it's Camille today. I don't know if Max is joining as well. Kelsey, Misty. Oh my God, I'm so happy you guys are all here. I'm so excited. I'm just super excellent that you guys are all here today. We've got some excellent words that have been guessed already. Tone, trust, teamwork, excellent words that we've been guessing so far. Just Camille, yep. Yay! Those are excellent words, and I need to pull up my little cheat sheet. So, we're going to start with one of the words that was guessed, because, temptations, great one. I love the guesses so much. Number one, it gives me ideas for season 2, which I'm hoping to do a season 2 of the ABCs of weight loss. Little just spoiler, thing there. I'm hoping to continue this on, longer after we get through the alphabet. I want to start it all over again and do it again. So, your guesses help me with words that I didn't think of that we can, cover again another time. So the guesses are always so exciting. So one of the words that was guessed that I had on my list was trust. And okay, so before we get into the word trust, we're going to talk about the word trust. Ooh, transformation. I love it. So I am a fan of all diets. So whatever, eating plan that you're following that is helping you to lose weight, that's all fine and good. I'm a fan of all. I don't follow a specific meeting plan. I don't even track calories. It's all, just whatever. I like to focus a lot of my time on mindset and habits, because I feel like mindset and habits are a large percentage of weight loss, and it's just not always calories in, calories out. So a lot of the things that we talk about and that we're going to talk about in the ABCs of weight loss, they transcend all diets, all eating plans, all of these things. And a lot of the things that we talk about don't even just apply just to weight loss. They also apply just to sometimes just in regular life. So I want everyone to feel safe and to be able to, talk openly and communicate and, feel like you are welcome here among this conversation. But it's just, important that I just say that before we get too far into it. So, trust. A big question I want to ask is, do you trust yourself? Do you trust yourself? Have you ever broken your trust with yourself in the past? Hey, Trina, welcome. So glad you made it today. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about trust right now. We're talking, do you trust yourself? Have you ever broken the trust that you have with yourself in the past? And also, how do you build trust with yourself? How do you build trust with yourself? So 3 really, really important questions that we need to ask. Misty, trust yourself in all kinds of ways now that I'm feeling better. Yep. So trust is something that, I think that everyone has broken the trust that they have with themselves when they say, oh, I'm going to start XYZ diet on whatever day, and then you don't. 3 days go by and you're like, oh man, I was supposed to start that diet. Or, oh, I'm going to start that exercise plan. No, you didn't do it. You've broken your trust with yourself because you said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. But we can rebuild that trust. Even if we've broken it, we can rebuild that trust slowly over time. I'm sorry, the cat and the dog are here, and I don't know what they're up to. They're playing. And I apologize for that. But we can build that trust back with ourselves. And it's a slow process in order to build that trust, but it is something that you can regain. It is something that you can get back. But at the same time, even whenever we break our trust, there's always that, for me personally, that self-love that I can, fall upon to help heal the wound of breaking my own trust within myself. Because I have such a great love and caring and admiration for what I can do, whenever I do, slip up and, don't do the things that I necessarily say that I'm going to tell myself that I'm going to do. Because I have that self-love that's built, that I've worked on, that I try and create, that I show gratitude for myself and appreciation, then it's a lot easier for me to not always feel like I'm telling myself stories. And does that make sense to you, telling yourself stories? Is that something that you can relate to at all? If you ever felt like, you're just, I don't know, I don't have a good way of saying it, kind of like blowing smoke up your own ass type thing. So I just don't know. But anyway, but trust, it's so important to have trust and to build trust. And you can build trust exactly like how Kelsey just said here in the chat below. She said, I build my trust with small, little tasks. So you just do it with little things. You just build it back up with doing the littlest things. Instead of saying, something big and huge and grandiose, we just go with something small. Say, today I'm going to get out of bed after 2 snoozes, and then they actually do it. But start with things that you know that you're going to be able to do. Don't start with things that are going to be really, really super hard. Start by just doing things that you know that are just a little bit, outside of what you want to do, but very, very doable. Very, very doable. Used to lie to myself all the time. I'm a great storyteller. I'm so good at telling lies to myself all the time. I am so good at it. So good at it. So trust. But really, it's, one of the things in the No BS weight loss program that they talk about is just writing down a 24-hour plan and then following that plan. And they do that as a way to help to start building trust with yourself that, that you can make, good decisions and you can follow a plan and you can do those things. I don't always feel like that's always the best plan for me because it's so hard for me to plan a day of food because my husband's always changing the plan on me. He's like, we'll have, 4 things planned and I'll put down, one of those things on the plan. Then he'll be like, oh, I don't want that. Can we have the other thing for dinner? I'm like, oh, okay, I guess we can have the other thing for dinner. But so it's always hard for me to write down exactly what I'm going to be having 24 hours in advance. So I do some version of that that's very, very similar to that. But it just helps me to build trust with myself. I build trust by saying that whenever I'm going to go for a goal, like with the steps challenge that just happened, I said that I was going to step 405,000 steps. I build trust with myself by keeping to that goal. It was something that I had to work hard at, and it was something that I had to do every single day in order to hit that goal. But I know that I can trust myself to do hard things, and I built that trust by setting a very achievable, attainable goal and then working towards that goal. But the thing is we have to go with something that's super duper achievable. Hello! Shai Sarai is in the house. Welcome. So glad you made it today. Ooh. I don't exactly plan in advance, but I don't allow foods I normally wouldn't eat for at least 24 hours to make sure I want it. It helps me trust I won't make any rash food decisions. I love that. I love that so much. That is so important. And it does, like, when I think about, eating and impromptu eating, there's always so many things that you can eat. And if you plan it in advance, it's like, okay, but that wasn't planned today and it'll be around tomorrow. I can have it tomorrow. Most of the time you can really, know what's going to be, facing you. And so it's a good way to do that. I love that. I think it's a wonderful strategy. And it's actually one that I like to follow as well. Like, okay, you want it now, but you can wait until tomorrow. And if you want it tomorrow, then you can have it. You just plan for it and you can have it. And a lot of times it just goes away. Sometimes whenever you have, and we're going to get to that word later in the day, but a lot of times it just goes away. The feeling that you want something that you're just like, oh my God, I have to have it. That urge to eat it, it goes away. I have, hitting the snooze button, it's, one of those things, it's like, it's a habit. It's a habit. And it's a hard habit to break. Whenever you're a snooze button hitter, like, it's automatic. You're doing it in your sleep. I've seen my husband do it. He doesn't even, know what's, happening to him. So trust. Try and work on a strategy in order to, if you feel like you don't have trust within yourself right now, find a very, very small way to build that trust within yourself, whatever it might be, whether it's around getting up, whether it's about exercise, whether it's about, avoiding, certain foods, whatever it is. Try and think of just the smallest way that you can build trust within yourself to help feel, build that confidence that you have, to build that up. I'm just loving all the comments today. Thank you so much. I'm just so pleased that you guys are all here. It just warms my heart. Oh my gosh. So, talking about other T words, because we're 15 minutes in and I do have other T words that I want to talk about. So the other T word that I was going to talk about, and I almost said it and somebody guessed it, and it was Kelsey. Kelsey said it. She said temptations. Temptation. Oh, what do you think about And I know this is hard because you guys are all like, oh, we're so excited. We're talking about trust and stuff and whatever. But now we're switching to temptation. When you think about the word temptation, what do you think of? When you think about the word temptation, what do you think of? So whenever I think about the word temptation, I think about sweets, treats, and salty snacks. Sweets, treats, and tiny snacks. It has a negative connotation. Bakery temptations. Red wine. These are all good. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So for a lot of people, their temptations are going to be different depending. Oh, dark chocolate. Yum, yum. I'm sorry that we're talking about all these things. I hope you guys had your dinner and you have whatever's planned and you're not going to get swayed by, us talking about these things. But temptation. Yeah, you can be tempted to do fun things too. That is so true. That's what I was going to talk about. Thank you, Misty. So it's so easy, whenever you get home from, or turn off the computer from a long day at work, to be tempted to, want to relax, wind down, take a load off with some sweets, some snacks, with some wine, some alcohol. It's all very tempting, and it sounds so good. And the funny thing is that we're bombarded all day long with messages from the media that if you need to relax, if you need to wind down, if you need to do any of these things, then those heavily marketed items are right there for you. It's hard to market nature. It's hard to market going for a walk. I don't know any, huge yoga companies out there that, can really market as well as, these big corporations on whatever. So yeah, we're bombarded by these messages all day that in order to relax and wind down and do that sweets can do it, and alcohol can do it, and treats can do it, and food can do it, and all of these things. But there's other ways. We can be tempted to have fun too. So I was tempted today to try out a workout because I subscribe to so many different people who do like dance videos and walking videos and all these different videos, and I'm scrolling and I'm looking at stuff and I'm like, ooh, well that one sounds like fun, let me give it a try. It was doesn't matter. But so no, stopped what I was doing and was like, let me try out this dance video because it sounds like fun. I was tempted to exercise. Who thought that would ever happen? So we can be tempted in all different kinds of ways. But really, food is the hugest industry that is out there. It's crazy. Ooh, Groupon wants to try new activities. That sounds fun. I like trying new activities. So temptation is just so everywhere. Also, temptation to just not. Have you ever just had temptation to just not? Like, I don't want to track my food. I don't want to go for a walk. I'm tempted to stay in bed. I'm tempted to do absolutely nothing. Temptation. So, temptation is all around us, and it's all around us in so many different ways. Hello, Tashiria. I didn't see you pop in here. Welcome. So glad you're here. Yay. So excellent. this morning with the gym. Camille had a nice little talk about it on her channel this morning. If you haven't checked out Dual Wellness, I encourage you to. But she didn't want to go to the gym, but she went to the gym and she had a nice time. She had a good time at the gym. So we're tempted all the time with the don't want tos. And this brings me to the next big word. The next big word that starts with a T. I don't think anybody guessed it, but stop feeling about it. There we go. Isn't that the truth? Salads are $10, but burgers are $5. Like, how is that even possible? It just makes me so mad. So mad. Can't even tell you. So the next big word that I want to talk about is our thoughts. Our thoughts. What we think. So there's a circumstance. There's a delicious cake sitting on the countertop, and it's all pretty, and it happens to be your favorite cake, and if it's not if you don't like cake, then it's whatever is your favorite thing, and you just have a thought that, oh man, that looks good. And that thought, you can have a lot of thoughts about it, but that thought is going to give you a feeling, and you're going to have lots of different thoughts and lots of different feelings, and they're all rushing through your body at the same time, and it's crazy how it is. And those thoughts are giving you different feelings, and sometimes, that can make you feel anxious. If you're like really, working hard, that seeing a temptation sitting on the counter where it's so easy to grab, there's nobody around, nobody's going to see it, different things, it can make you feel anxious. It can make you feel excited. It can make you feel nostalgic. It can make you feel so many different ways. So the circumstance gives you a thought, and that thought gives you a feeling. And based on that feeling, you act upon it. And it's so weird, and it's something that can happen in a split second, and you don't even realize it. So I like to kind of watch my thoughts and then slow my thoughts down and then try to choose my thoughts. Now, this is something that I'm practicing. I am not an expert at. It is not something that I have mastered. I am not at all perfected it yet, but it's something that I'm trying to practice, and in some cases it works really, really well. I can see a temptation, and I can have a thought that, oh, that looks good, but I'm not going to be really happy with myself if I eat it. Or, that looks good, but whatever. So if I really, really slow it down, breathe it out, think about what I'm thinking, and don't let those thoughts just automatically control me. Don't let them automatically. It's so hard because I am a very, very emotional person. I've always acted on emotions. I've always been quick to judgment. I've always been very quick to make decisions just based on a gut feeling. So this is really, really hard for me to learn. There are other people who learn it a lot faster than I do. It's taken me so much time to try and learn this. But we can have all different thoughts, and we can control those thoughts. We can choose what we want to think with time and with practice. So there's lots of thoughts that we can have. And the funny thing, have you ever, and this word, kind of like gets me. It gets me a lot. But have you ever been triggered? It's like this, everybody's getting triggered all the time. It really triggers me. Sometimes it annoys me, and then sometimes I use it, and then I'm like, look at you. But triggered, so sometimes those temptations can trigger you. But if you really think about your thoughts, you can control it. It doesn't have to trigger you. It doesn't have to. You get to choose what you think about that circumstance. You can choose your thoughts. You can choose your feelings. It takes practice. It's not easy. You know, the first time that you did a cartwheel, how high did your feet come off the ground? Like this high? You know, it was hard to do a cartwheel. But with practice, you were able to do it. It's the same thing with controlling your thoughts. With practice, you'll be able to do it. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that, Kelsey. I heard a quote about that once, something along the lines of, you already know what that cookie tastes like. It's not going to change. And that's helped me whenever I see something tempting. It is so true. You already know. You already know. 99.9% of the time, you already know. I'm just trying to read the chat here, so while I'm being a little quiet. I like to think about how I'll feel about it if I do or don't do it. So just, yeah, that's a huge way to think about it. Because how many times, yeah, Loki, he's the joy. If we're so caught up in thinking about doing the thing instead of just doing it, then how much time did we just waste? And how much time would we have gotten back? Because when you're thinking about doing something, are you busy doing something else? You're kind of not. You're just wasting your time, like either, scrolling or watching TV or doing something that isn't necessarily as important. And then you're wasting time. And then by the time, then you're like, oh man, now I ran out of time. Now how am I going to get the thing done? Because now I don't have any more time. Because you wasted versus, fretting over the whole situation versus just getting it done. I have to really, do that with my work life. There are so many tasks that I don't like doing, that I don't enjoy doing, that I dread doing. But if I try and knock those things out first thing during the day, the first thing that I do, then the rest of my day is so much more enjoyable. So I just don't think about it. I just get it done first thing so I don't have to stress about it. The worry and the stress and the anxiety and the, putting it off creates more stress in my life than actually just getting it done and doing the thing that I said that I would do. What's best for old lady Camille? I love it. I love it so much. It takes so much practice. I know. Yeah, practice. So in was it fourth grade? In fourth grade, I was in this play, and it was a Cabbage Patch Kids play, and there was a song, "Practice makes perfect, you'll see." I don't know. Anyway, so that's the only thing I remember. But I was the villain in that play. We had tryouts and everything. I was Lavender McDade. So, lots of fun stuff you're learning here today. Eating the frog. Do the thing that you don't want to do, and everything else gets easier. So true. So, while we're talking about our thoughts, what are your thoughts on tracking? What are your thoughts on tracking? So tracking's one of those funny things, because tracking, it can mean so many different things. There are so many different ways to track. You can track your macros, you can track your calories, you can track your steps, you can track your exercise, you can track your sleep, you can track, your moods, you can track your moods. There's so many things that you can track. I find it overwhelming sometimes. Is that an angry face or a sad face? I'm terrible at reading emojis. Terrible. tracking is my key to self-accountability. Yes, tracking is a key to self-accountability. Oh, I can relate to that because it kind of goes back to that trust thing. If I don't always track, it's easy to conveniently forget things that you do or don't do. So tracking is a key to self-accountability for sure. So what kind of apps are you guys using to do your tracking? Do you guys use apps for those people that track? And then it also depends on what you track, because, you know, I only track my, well, that's a lie. I track my steps, and I track my sleep, and I track my calories, but I don't pay attention to my calories. I just put them in for the sake of putting them in, but not to say that I have to eat a certain number of calories, but I do just put them in. But I'm not, it's a habit I'm working on building upon, because I figure, like, if I'm spending, 15 minutes a day on my phone looking at Instagram or Discord or Facebook or anything else, why am I not doing that? So I've been trying to implement where I'm not allowed to look at any social media apps until after my food is recorded. So it's like, okay, did you eat anything since the, last time that you did this? Then check in with myself to say, okay, I did, and now I have to track before, and then I can get my social media as a reward for doing my tracking, because I want to get into a better habit of that, because I feel like as I get smaller in weight, that tracking is going to become more of something that I might have to do more regularly. So it's just a habit that I'm building, and the way that I'm trying to build it is, through use of a reward system. So if I track my food, then I get the reward of social media. So yes, and it's habit stacking. But it's just a good little motivator for me. So I use my Fitbit app to track my steps and that stuff, and then I track my calories using my FitnessPal, and then I track my habits through my habit tracker, and then I track my moods through my journal. So I track like way too much. I track like everything, but it all works in conjunction with each other. If Mitch and Carlin, if you're watching their channel, so today they put out a video and they were talking about, she's doing 75 hard. She's reading, Carlin, and she's doing 75 hard, and she was reading a book, and the book was talking about the importance of sleep and how it regulates your hormones and how important it is, and sleep is so important. And then the funny thing is that Kirsten QuickFit, so she's my, fitness coach. I'm signed up with her membership and everything. So she put out a challenge for us to try and get 8 hours of sleep, because sleep is important. It just is so beneficial to you. But through the habit tracking, I know I have seen undeniable proof for myself that when I don't get sleep, it affects the way that I eat, it affects the way that I exercise, it affects how much water I drink, not getting enough sleep. So sleep is like a key thing that I have to do, because if I'm not getting that sleep in, then it makes everything else in my day harder. But I learned that through tracking. Someone said, you need to track your sleep because sleep is important. And then I saw the relationship. I saw the proof. I saw how important it was. So I put a priority on it because it's that important. Like, if I don't exercise one day, it's not going to be as terrible as if I lose all of my healthy habits. And whenever I don't sleep right, the only thing that I do all day is walking around saying, man, I'm so tired today. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And then everything's terrible. I make poor food choices. I don't drink enough water. I don't do my exercise to, the ability that I could if I got enough sleep. So sleep is a huge, but I found that through tracking, through using a habit tracker. It's amazing. I love that. I have been talking about getting a better nighttime and morning routine. Then Mitch and Carlin, then Kirsten. Okay, I hear the message. I got it. Sometimes we have to get the message like 1,000 times in 500 different ways before we finally get it. I get it. Me too. Been there. So, tracking. Does anybody pre-track? Anybody pre-track? I like pre-tracking. Pre-tracking is really helpful. It also makes it easier if you pre-track. It helps to create a better balance throughout the day. So whenever I was just kind of, just going with the flow of whatever, then I would tend to especially whenever I was doing Weight Watchers. This really applies to back whenever I was doing Weight Watchers and I would had points. I would a lot of the times use up all my points at lunch, and then at dinner I'd have 4 points left, and I'm scrounging things in the kitchen what do I have that's 4 points? Okay, I guess I'm gonna have some broccoli and whatever, but it was so hard. But whenever pre-tracking, it just helps to figure out balanced meals that all work well with each other, so that you've got your day planned and everything's gonna, I just feel like it goes more smoothly for me whenever I pre-track versus trying to do it on the fly. So pre-tracking is just a strategy that some people use, and that it helps them out. So I just wanted to bring it up because some people like it. Kelsey pre-tracked whenever she worked with her nutritionist. She pre-tracks when she's eating home-cooked food because I have to meal plan. So yeah, I kind of do that. I always like to meal plan. I always like to plan out an idea of meals for the week, so that I go shopping and I make sure that I have the ingredients, because nothing is worse whenever you think, I'm going to go and I'm going to make something, then you don't have the ingredients that you need. So, for sure. So, well, good. Somebody got an idea of something. So, yay! There was something I wanted to talk about, and I totally forgot. Hold on. It's over here on this other thing. Because I have notes, but they're on a different computer. So, 1 second. Okay, so back to, totally forgot. So, back to triggers. So, do you have, I was talking about triggers in the form of, they can trigger, different feelings with you and different circumstances and whatever. But triggers can also be a behavior, a habit thing. So, you might have different triggers in your life. There's James Clear in the book. Having 2 computers working at the same time is just hard. Okay. But James Clear talks about it in his book, The Atomic Habits, but he talks about the habit loop. So there's a cue, there's a craving, there's a response, and there's a reward. So your cue can be, really anything. Leaving my house is a trigger to get fast food. There you go. Simple. Lots of different triggers. So when I was growing up, I had strep throat a lot. And I would always my mom would always take me to McDonald's to get a vanilla milkshake after my doctor's appointments. And every time I leave the doctor's office, I get a craving. Every single time. Because it was just something that was, ingrained in me. My body got, this cue, I went to the doctor. And then, my reward was always that I'd get this shake. And then that shake was yummy and it felt good. And it was time with mom. So it was one of those things that I've really had to try and break. And it was funny because it wasn't even necessarily that I was getting the shake anymore, but it was still going to fast food, doctor fast food. It was the drive-through. Being super tired is a trigger. So learning our triggers is important, and that is where, I find that tracking can be helpful. So writing down not only the foods that you eat, but the times that you ate, where you ate, who you were with, are helpful, especially whenever there are things that are off plan. So a lot of times whenever we eat things that are overindulgent, are high calorie, are not, fitting within our meal plan or whatever, we don't want to write them down because we're judging that food. We're judging that food as bad food. We don't want to see it. We want to ignore it. We know it was bad, so why do I have to write it down? Because I know that, it wasn't something that, we're judging that food. But if we just write it down and we don't say any judgment, we just say at 2 o'clock I had a Kit Kat bar at work after meeting about whatever. Maybe we can learn that at 2 o'clock when we have a meeting with that person that we feel triggered, we feel stressed, we're trying to find relief from stress. So what can we do to combat that stress? But if we write it down and we don't pass judgment on you were being bad or you were being good or whatever it was, and we just look at it for what it was, we ate for whatever reason, then we can find new solutions for it versus saying that was good or that was bad or whatever. Because a lot of times it's not about the food itself. A lot of times we're just using that as a release, as a way to get through a situation, as a coping mechanism for something that's going on. Maybe you might find that you do a lot of your eating, whenever no one's around. Maybe you do it as an avoidance to bedtime. Maybe sometimes you're feeling tired and you decide that that's whenever you need a snack because you don't want to go to bed. I was this kid whenever I was growing up. I never wanted to go to sleep. I thought that I was going to miss something. The stuff was really going to happen if I went to sleep. And I just could not go to sleep because all the cool stuff was going to happen whenever I fell asleep. So I never wanted to sleep as a kid. So just side thing that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Sorry. But yeah, that's something. So it can be time. It can be location. It can be a preceding event. It can be an emotional state. All of these different things are things that can trigger us. So if we start, thinking about what are my triggers and then start finding solutions for those triggers versus always, just turning to food. But if we're not tracking it, how are we really going to know that it's something that we do? Because, it's so easy. What did you wear to work on Monday? Do you know? It's only Wednesday. And when I have to really concentrate and I have to really think about it. Think about what did I wear to work on Monday, let alone, what events, times, emotional states triggered me to, eat whatever. Hello, Miss Jess. Hello. Thank you for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. So to watch very carefully if I am watching TV, because I just get into a mindless zone. It just triggers me to not pay attention to if I'm hungry or if I'm satisfied or how much food I've eaten. Sometimes I don't even remember tasting my food if I'm watching TV, so I have to be very, very mindful of doing that, because I'm not enjoying my food like I would if I just actually sat with my food and ate my food. I can guarantee I wore black leggings. Do you wear black leggings every day? Is that why you can say that? So we can also use triggers for good things. Like Camille was talking, she mentioned habit stacking. I absolutely love. I'm gonna have to set up lights because I feel like I'm losing all my light. We can use triggers to help us build our habits. So whenever I get up in the morning, there's the whole routine. As soon as I get up, get up, you go pee, you pet the dog, you pet the cat, feed the dog, feed the cats, make the coffee, pour the water, and it's all in the same routine every single day. And it's just a habit, that little, morning routine that I have. And then again at 5, whenever I get off work at 4:30, I have another little after work routine that I go through, and I do 10 different things around the house. Tidy up this, tidy up that, feed the dog, feed the cat, clean the cat box, blah, blah, blah. All these little things that I do. Why, thank you. But these are triggers. So when I wake up in the morning, I have a trigger. And then I have a trigger then again at night. And then I'm trying to build a trigger that anytime I try to pick up my phone and go for a social media app, that is triggering me to say, did you track your food? So I'm trying to build on that that habit to make a new trigger that I make sure that I'm tracking my food. So we can find all different ways to whatever. So if you see that every day at a certain time that you are going for a snack, maybe you need to replace that habit of going for a snack, because it might not be because you're actually hungry. Check in with yourself for a few days. Say, am I actually hungry? Or say, I'm not sure if I'm hungry. I'm gonna go for a walk, or I'm gonna call a friend, or I'm gonna do whatever. So we can use our triggers to help us out. So, and then one way to get into the habit of that is to, write down with intention what you're going to do. So if you want to build in some kind of exercise that's really, really short, simple, sweet, whatever, you just want to start, working on, squats or whatever, you can say, at lunchtime, after I get up from my computer, I will do X amount of squats, and then I will go prepare my lunch. So different things like that, just little ways to, build these triggers so that, and it really works well if you do it before something that you already do. So I take Loki for a walk every single day. Well, one of the things that I'm not good about doing is stretching. So what I like to do is in my journal every day is to write that, before I put on my tennis shoes to walk Loki, I will stretch for 3 minutes. And then just by writing it down, I reinforce, what is my cat doing? By writing it down, I reinforce that is something that I want to do. I'm telling my mind, I'm giving it the clear message that this is what my intentions are. And then whenever I go to put on my shoes, that triggers me. It's a reminder. Oh, and then my brain thinks, oh yeah, that's right. Whenever you put on your shoes, you want to stretch for 3 minutes. So it's just something that I use as something to trigger me to think about that. There's also a way to trigger that whenever you go to eat. Whenever you're going to eat and you want to make sure that you eat slowly, you can build a trigger so that whenever you pick up a fork or you pick up a spoon, that you say, a little mantra to yourself. You say some kind of affirmation or something. But then you create, whenever that action of picking it up creates a trigger within you that reminds you, oh yes, I want to eat slowly. But it's one of these things, and it's something that takes practice. It takes time. Habits are not something that you're going to build just like overnight. They're definitely things that we have to work on. There's things that we have to practice for them to become a habit. To build these triggers is also the same thing. They didn't come to us like out of nowhere. We had to build these up. We had to work on these triggers that we have for other things. Do you ever feel like when you have the day off work, it's like the day is so long, and then when you're at work, it's like, oh wow, it's so short. You're just like, oh, 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever time, it's time to go. And it's like, whoa. Anyway, I have a lot of time-based triggers. That's why I say that. I don't know that I could ever go with a capsule wardrobe. I just don't know. I always admire people that have capsule wardrobes. I just think that's like one of the coolest things, but I don't know if I could ever do it myself. Sometimes I get annoyed with the dogs and then I realize it's me who is off schedule. I don't know about your dogs, but my dogs are never off schedule. My pets, they know. They're looking at me like, it's 2 minutes to 5. Can we have our food, please? The cat's like walking on me at 4:55. Like, get up, Mom, get up. It's time to get up. Oh, okay. So if you want to do more corpse pose in your life, tree poses. If you want to add more tree poses, trying to think of things that Kirsten would add. Habits have to be worked on. Trying to read. I'm trying to read. Trying to read. That's the funniest thing. I feel like people throw the habit word around like it's nothing. Like you can just go out and buy one like a hat. No, you cannot. You have to work at it. So that just cracks me up. Like, excuse me, can I get a habit, please? A good one? Can I get a nice, healthy habit? Like loving to drink my water, going to bed on time, reading. Anything that's going to help me out? No, you can't help me here. Just highly palatable food. Thanks. Oh my God. So this was fun. We talked about so many exciting, awesome words. So many exciting, awesome words today. We talked about tracking and triggered and trust. We talked about some thoughts. Awesome T words. So I want to apologize for everybody, for the long hiatus that I was on. My camera got broke, and then I got all in my head and whatever all my excuses are, but I just want to apologize for being on such a long hiatus. And I felt like it was like, you need to get back to it. You're letting your people down. So I'm back, and I'm so excited that you guys all showed up tonight for this. It really it means a lot to me because I know it was a really long break. So I think you guys enjoy this series too, and that really, means a lot to me. So I appreciate you all for being here. I want to thank you. Don't want to get too emotional, but anyway, I just wanted to say that. So, is anybody going to work on any habit stacking? Is there any habits that you want to build that you're going to try and build a trigger for this week? Are you going to try and make a trigger? So, does everybody, I don't know how many people actually go to work versus work from home. So I have a hybrid schedule, and I go to work 2 days a week, and then I work from home 3 days a week. So one of the big things was making sure that I park far away, because I had gotten out of the habit of parking as far away from the office, as possible. And now I'm trying to get back into the habit of that. So I try and remind myself at the stop sign, before you turn left to get to the building, don't forget you want to park in the garage all the way at the bottom. And it's one of those things. And now, before it used to be, it is a habit now. It didn't take long for it to become a habit again. But now I just always go to, it's like my parking space, and nobody's ever in it. It's always empty, because who wants to park that far away? But it's my parking space. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you have meetings where, you go into the meeting and everybody has their assigned seat, but nobody ever assigned seats. It's just, that's where you go sit. It's just one of those things. An alarm can act as a trigger. So as you're starting to do habits, it's good to use alarms as triggers. Sometimes, though, those alarms won't work. I am really good at putting alarms on my phones and reminders on my phone and just hitting ignore like I never even saw it. Implied seats. So it's my implied parking space. So that's mine. But I had to train myself in it. The best thing about that is you just get on autopilot. So a lot of times, I've done it a few times, with my morning routine, I get on autopilot and I'm out walking the door before I even look outside to see if it's raining. I'm like, oh, it's raining. Well, we can't go for a walk. He's not going to like it. And then we have to turn around. So some of these things, once you get used to doing them, they do become autopilot. So, yay, you made it! We weren't talking about you at all, I promise. Kirsten. We talked about tree poses, not squats. When someone takes your spot in Zumba class. See, you guys can all relate to all this stuff. Anyway, I like to keep this at an hour. I don't want to keep you guys too long because I know that your time is important to you. But again, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I hope you guys will be back next week. We're going to do it at the same time, and we're going to talk with words that begin with the letter U. So be thinking of those words that begin with the letter U. And I would appreciate it if you would come back to the video and leave a comment on it. Just, helps me out. So anyway, if you're new, don't forget, comment, subscribe, all the fun things. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Thanks.